This crispy chicken is from a taco place.
This crispy chicken is from a taco place?
The taco place?
Taco place. It comes in a burrito, too?
From your taco place, it's also a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Check out the all-new Blue and Orange store at the Boise State Hall of Fame. The Blue and Orange store has your best game day gear. We're talking jerseys, hats, bumper stickers, car flags, more than 4,000 hats on the hat wall. If you want the best Boise State gear, make sure you check out the Blue and Orange store online at theblueandorangestore.com or the all-new Blue and Orange store down at the Boise State Allen Noble Hall of Fame.
It's the fall kickoff sale at Lithia Ford of Boise. It's the best time to trade in and trade up to a new Ford truck or SUV with the room to haul your payload or playload. Visit Lithia Ford of Boise, where Ford begins in Idaho.
Bronco fans, the new Boise State trading cards are here, and you can only get them at Jacksons.
Start collecting them today.
Jacksons, let's go!
And final blade of grass. Done. And done. Who knew it'd take 2,007 man-hours to paint 47,962,053 blades of grass? Smells like game day. Whoa, it's not dry yet.
It's time for the Jacksons Postgame Show on Bronco Nation News. We're breaking down the game with highlights, interviews, analysis, and most importantly, you. Give your thoughts on the game in the ICCU YouTube chat, or leave us a message on the Signature Roofing voice box at speakpipe.com/BNN. The BNN Postgame Show is presented by Jacksons, where you can get a 99-cent 16-ounce coffee or refill with Let's Go Rewards. Need snacks or a cold drink? Visit one of the 300 Jacksons locations today. The title sponsor of Bronco Nation News is RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics. For all your painting needs, check out RowPaint.com. Now, let's join the guys at the James Kitchen and Bar near Albertson Stadium for the Jacksons Postgame Show on Bronco Nation News.
Well, tonight, A.G. Nato, one of the many Broncos on display, to the hoop, count it, and the foul. He scores, and the Broncos taking an early lead there. The Broncos end up winning tonight 89-83. This game has just gone final, the extra 10-minute period. The Vandals, hate to break it to you folks, 26-14. The Vandals do win the second extra game of all the
battle of the backups.
The battle of the walk-ons and backups, yes. But the real game, the one that counted, 89-83. Boise State gets the win tonight. My name is BJ Rains. This is Nathan Carroll. We're with Bronco Nation News. This is the Jacksons Postgame Show. I know all the signage, all the audio stuff says football, says we're at the James. We'll be there tomorrow for the football game. It's an exhibition game. We'll get all the stuff updated. But I know some of you are watching this live. Some of you may be tuned in on Saturday morning. But Boise State, I'm not too worried about the 6-point score. They were winning by double digits most of this game. Idaho hit a couple shots late. The final spread was 6, but overall, Nathan, I thought there was a lot to like about this game tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we talked about it in pregame. This was going to be a lot more about finding out about players, and I think you saw some things you really like out of the new guys, right? You look at the guys who struggled. It's Andrew Meadow. It's Javen Buchanan. Those are guys that you know what you're going to get from them in Mountain West play. The fact that it's a lot of the new guys who came in and played at a high level, I think you're encouraged. And look, there were some defensive issues, but let's just say defensive intensity may not have been the focal point of this game, right? A lot more about getting shots up, running your offense. And, yeah, I thought for the most part, a lot of positive things, not too worried. You get the win. That's really what matters. You keep bragging rights. I know Leon would have gotten a phone call or two had they lost this game. So you get the win, and some guys stand out and play well.
Again, 89-83 the final. The stat broadcast was kind of messed up tonight, but I do have some final stats on my phone here. And obviously, Drew Fielder was the big story tonight for Boise State. 24 points, 8 rebounds in 23 minutes. The Georgetown transfer looked impressive tonight.
Yeah, he looked really good. Was doing a little bit of everything. I mean, stepping back, hitting threes, getting inside, going over his right shoulder, going over his left shoulder. Got to the free throw line. I think had 8 free throw attempts tonight. Obviously, you love the 8 rebounds over a full game. That's going to project out to a double-double. Had a really nice block at one point in this game. Drew Fielder did what you would expect a power 4 Big East transfer to do against a Big Sky opponent. He looked absolutely dominant. And Idaho in particular, they play a ton of small ball stuff, ton of lineups where their 5 is a 6'6" guy. But Drew Fielder looked really, really good, which, again, one of those guys who really good P4 or I guess P5 acumen and showed it tonight.
We're going to have highlights coming up. Our man Mateo's putting together some highlight packages. We're hopefully going to hear from Leon Rice and some players as well, but would love to hear from you. If you were at the game tonight, give us your thoughts, your comments. We're not dumb. We know this is probably going to be a little smaller viewership on a Friday night. We may not have a ton of comments coming in tonight, but like I said, I think a lot of folks may be tuning in Saturday morning watching this or whenever, and wanted to give you at least a little bit of a recap on the game tonight. And again, Jacksons, appreciate them. Get that 99-cent coffee anytime, day or night, courtesy of Jacksons. They got the trading cards there as well, and they're the sponsor of our post-game show here, so we appreciate Jacksons. But again, if you have a comment, if you watch the game on TV, if you were here at the arena, let us know what you thought, who impressed you, what'd you like, any gripes you have after this exhibition. And again, we're half expecting they only beat Idaho by 6 messages to come in. But like I said, I thought for the most part they were in control, got a little sloppy at the end, may not have had the 5 guys they would have normally had in at the end of the game. I know the final margin was 6, but overall a lot to like for Boise State tonight. They make 11 of 22, 50% from three-point range, 26 of 54 overall from the field. That's 48%. They shoot 48% from the field. They do out-rebound Idaho 40-25 as well. They do let Idaho shoot 48.3%. So Idaho hit some shots. Defense wasn't amazing in this game, but like I said, they're mixing up the matchups. This was more about individual players, and looking at guys, especially the newcomers and things like that. And some other scores, Andrew Meadow had 14 points, 13 for Javen Buchanan. Dom Parolin hit a couple back-to-back threes. He had 7 points. And A.G. Nato, we showed that clip of him there. He got a lot of run tonight. He finished with 9 points. I was impressed with him, but you could just tell he's a freshman, a little nervous, first game jitters. But overall, with Dylan Andrews, again, did not play tonight due to an injury. Nato got some extra run, and I thought he looked pretty good.
Yeah, I think he made some freshman mistakes. Very first possession of the game, there's a entry pass that ends up getting picked off, like kind of pass that when he's a junior, he's not going to make. Just all throughout the night, he fouls a 3-point shooter on the perimeter. But there was a lot of things he really liked. Showed really good body control, really nice finishing around the rim. Looked more athletic than Idaho's guards. Had an and one for his first bucket as a Bronco. Very impressed with A.G. Nato. I turned with you about 10 minutes left. He had a nice finish and just said, Nato's going to be a guy. Might not be necessarily this year. There's clearly some things to work out, but by the time Nato's time here is done at Boise State, I think he's going to have an impact. I think he'll be an impact starter for this team.
And I know the rotations, the minutes aren't going to be what they normally are, but I do think it's who played when was a little notable tonight. And we mentioned 31 minutes for Javen Buchanan, 28 minutes for Nato, 27 for Andrew Meadow, 23 for Drew Fielder. Julian Bowie gets 19, Dominic Parolin 17, RJ Keene 16, Pearson Carmichael 19 minutes, maybe a little less, especially in the first half than we were expecting. He plays 19 minutes. Spencer Aarons gets 11 minutes. Bon got 5 first half minutes. No time at all for Ethan Lathan, which was a little interesting. In the 40-minute game, he played the whole 8 minutes in the extra game. But interesting how they spread out some of the minutes.
Yeah, I mentioned it to you during the game that it was interesting because if they think Ethan Lathan's a guy, you're probably giving him some run this year. So just based on, like, I don't want to overreact to too much of this game. Like, Drew Fielder having a great night. I don't all of a sudden think he's a 20-point-per-game scorer this season, right? Had a good night, should be a good player. The two things I thought were interesting that I think you maybe could take away. Ethan Lathan not getting any run in the first scrimmage probably means that he needs another year of seasoning before he's ready to contribute. And looked pretty good in the backup scrimmage, right? Had a nice dunk to get things started, had a nice finish around the rim towards the end. But again, probably a guy who's a year away. But Bon Boim gets 5 minutes in the first half of the scrimmage.
Hit a three, I believe.
Yep, hit a three. Had a couple of freshman mistakes and rotations that will get worked out. But to me, that tells me, and I said it in the pregame, if there's a guy who halfway through the year gets into the rotation, I thought it'd be Bon Boim. Clearly the staff is seeing something enough that they're going to give him a little bit of run in that first scrimmage. I think Bon Boim maybe not plays game one, but I think he might get time this year based off what we saw tonight.
Again, we're going to have highlights coming up from our man Mateo. He's putting that package together. We're going to hear from Leon Rice, some players as well. Abe Jackson also going to join us as we spend a Friday night here at Idaho Central Arena breaking down Boise State's 89-83 exhibition win. And, yeah, I mean, it was fine. It was a good game. I'm not going to say they're now, a Sweet 16 team. I'm not going to say they're a bottom half of the Mountain West team. I think they're a good team. I think what we thought about them coming in, nothing really changed for me. I was impressed with Drew Fielder, but, yeah, you got to put it in perspective what he did. But some of the things we wanted to see, three-point shooting, the depth I thought showed tonight. I mean, they really mixed up the rotations, which we expected them to do. But I didn't notice a huge drop-off when some of the second-string guys came in. I really do think this is a team that's going to be able to go 8, 9, 10 deep. And Dylan Anders, as we said, one of their best players, one of their 2 or 3 probably best players, didn't even play tonight. And so I really liked what I saw from Fielder. Aarons didn't play as much as I thought he might. He played a little bit in the bonus game.
Yep.
But he hit a shot, and I thought was impressive at times. And I thought, Peanut and Meadow and Keen and those guys, Bowie, were like
fine.
We saw last year, maybe a little better, fine, just I don't want to say average, but they did what they needed to do tonight. It was not some, oh, my gosh, this team is unbelievable. But if you're a Boise State fan and you're watching this right now and you were at this game and you're driving to your home or you're in the parking lot or heading over to get a beverage somewhere, I think you had a good night. You had a fun time, and I think you think, okay, this team's going to be fun to watch this year, and this team's going to be pretty good.
Something I was thinking about coming into tonight, if you remember Jamar Chase, we're going a little NFL analogy for you here, had a horrible preseason, right? 3 games, looked really bad. People were saying, oh, it's the ball, it's too big, you can't vote, and then came out and had a phenomenal rookie year, right? A lot of times with these exhibition games, we don't want to draw too big of takeaways, right? Maybe Drew Fielder is not, their best player, their best offensive scorer. And likewise, Andrew Meadow, who had a negative plus-minus tonight, maybe not a bad basketball player, right? Maybe still going to be a good, solid player for this team. Did have 14 points. Really where I want to draw the big conclusions are just in no Lathan, Bon Boim, and Spencer Aarons. There were some things that I liked. I thought he showed good defensive intensity. I mentioned in pregame, he's a big body. He doesn't look like a freshman. Never really got bullied physically. So I was fairly impressed with Spencer Aarons. He looks like a guy who might be able to play. Probably, I'd imagine he'll be kind of a freshman Tyson Dagenhart situation, if anything, right? Tyson played a little bit coming off the bench early, and by game 7 or 8 gets inserted into the starting lineup. I don't think he's going to start day one. That is Spencer Aarons, but showed enough to think I think he can play this year without a doubt.
And again, there's not a ton to take away from it. I thought it was a nice game. Some guys I thought stepped up, but I think Drew Fielder, if you're yes, is he a 24-8 guy? No, but is he a guy that, like you said, could
good basketball player?
Yeah, he's a good player. And again, I mean, I'm not trying to. I hate doing it like this, but can you get more out of Drew Fielder than you got out of Omar Stanley last year?
Yep.
And if that answer is yes, that's an improvement and an upgrade and helps your team get better. And so I think certainly with what we saw tonight, he's not afraid to shoot.
Nope.
He's not afraid to be aggressive. He has that nice pump fake on the three-point shot, too. Early in the game, he was letting it fly, and then he would pump fake and drive. And he showed he could score in multiple ways, multiple levels. I thought Drew Fielder was pretty impressive tonight overall. But a lot to like, and now they'll have a week to kind of decompress this. They'll have the private scrimmage against Idaho, and then against Washington.
Yep. And
then they'll have the post-game, the season will get started after that. So I'm going to head down to do some interviews. Abe Jackson looks like he's making his way up here. So I'm going to let you take over
Perfect.
Nathan for a little bit. Abe Jackson will join you, and you guys can chat for a little while. I'll go get some interviews and be back in 15, 20 minutes or so.
Perfect. All right. Well, we'll get to
hang on to this guy. Give him some comments.
Yeah.
Give him some questions. Help him get through it here solo for a little bit. But if you got any questions, comments, there's some comments on here. Maybe you can slide over and let Abe take that seat. And appreciate you guys. We'll be back soon.
Yeah, we'll get your comments into the chat, and we'll go through some of them just to see where you guys are at, see how you're feeling. We'll get Abe Jackson up here, chat with him a little bit about what he thought of the game and sort of his takeaways. Obviously, having been, Boise State basketball player, he knows how much do you put into these exhibition games and might have some better insight on what to look for. But let's go through some comments. P. Silly saying they definitely did good on the new additions to the team. I think so. We talked about it, throughout the offseason. They've never had marquee transfers like a Dylan Andrews, like a Drew Fielder. I mean, these guys started games at UCLA and Georgetown. I think the floor for those guys is really, really high. Didn't get to see Andrews tonight, but Drew Fielder looked really, really good. And I think you got to be really happy about that. I think at worst kind of felt like he'll probably be at least an 8-5 guy and give you solid minutes. But clearly tonight, some scoring upside there, some defensive upside. I think Drew Fielder is going to be a good player here. Jennifer enjoyed the game. Yeah, go Broncos. Absolutely. Vandals look solid. Wasn't expecting that. Yeah, Vandals got some guys. They've got an identity. They want to run. They've got a bunch of small guys who, they want to shoot. I was fairly impressed with Idaho. That Ken Palm has them as a pretty lowly ranked team in the Big Sky. I think they could win some games, man. I was fairly impressed with the Vandals as well. Brock saying, I was really hoping for a 50-point beatdown, but a lot to like with this team. Yep, absolutely agree. I think there's a lot to like with this team. Sick Modern, at least a bubble team. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think this is going to project as a team who's in and around the bubble most of the season, and that ceiling's largely going to be determined by what sort of development did you get out of guys like Pearson Carmichael, by Andrew Meadow, and then how good are Andrews and Fielder going to be, right? Dylan Andrews had some low moments at UCLA, but also stretches where he looked like an All-American. What version of Dylan Andrews do you get? What version of Drew Fielder do you get? If you get anything close to Drew Fielder's tonight performance the rest of this season, I think you're talking about probably more than a bubble team making the tournament because, again, Drew Fielder was impressive. But a lot there will be a lot tougher opponents. Idaho did not have a Magoon Guath out there. We'll put it that way. Baum's high school highlights reel is filthy, very much so. It's not always against the best comp, but a lot of what he showed in high school is really impressive. And again, the fact he's getting run early, he might be a guy that Leon uses at times this year. He's lengthy, just long arms. I said probably a 7-foot wingspan. I wouldn't be shocked if it's 7'2", 7'3", man. Like really long. Looks like a BJ made the comment during the game. He's like, he looks like a San Diego State guy, right? Just long, athletic. I think Bon Boim, if not this year, he's going to be a really good player eventually. The three-point shooting looked really good. Yeah, that was my one big takeaway. This was not a good three-point shooting team last year. You shoot 50% today. You get a little bit from everyone, right? Jamie Buchanan hits some. Drew Fielder hits some. Don Parolin hits some. I think you feel really good about this team's ability to space the floor better this season. It might just come down to the 2 point guards, Nato and Andrews. Neither of them, I mean, we don't know much about Nato and his shooting right now, but Andrews wasn't an elite shooter at UCLA from three, so we'll have to see. Aaron's going to be tight, then Kid going to be illy. Well, I'm sorry, guy. I'm too old. I don't know exactly what he's saying there. Yeah, Sick Modern, have a good feeling about Boum. Agreed there. I think he's going to be a good player. Feels like Javen had a lot of great defensive moments tonight. Yeah, I tend to agree. I think Javen Buchanan's going to be a really good player. I think he'll be one of the best wing defenders on this team throughout this season. But we got our man Abe up here, going to be joining us and chatting a little bit about the game. Abe, thanks for coming on. And yeah. What did you think of the game? And I guess I'd love to hear your insight, maybe off the top, maybe after your general thoughts. Just having played, how much stock do you put in these exhibition games? What are you looking for? And I guess what stood out to you ultimately?
Well, I don't think you can look at this game and say this is what our team's going to be. I mean, it's going to be maybe not night and day difference, but it's going to be a lot more smooth. Guys are going to know what they're doing a little bit better. And I mean, this is the earliest game that we've ever broadcast. October 17th. I think before we might have done one around Halloween, but it's still. It's as early as it can be. And I think they look good. I think there's a lot of good pieces out there. You could tell that all the pieces weren't quite fitting together yet, but I like what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and if there's one thing you know about Leon Rice, he'll tinker and figure out and find that best lineup in time, right? Who stood out to you tonight? Obviously, Drew Fielder with the big performance and 24 points, 8 rebounds. Outside of Fielder, was there anyone that stood out to you, anyone that impressed you that you went, that might be a guy that maybe we didn't expect, 6 hours ago?
Maybe not someone that I didn't expect, but I mean, Andrew Meadow. Yeah. I feel like Andrew Meadow doesn't have wow games.
Yes.
But you look at the stat line, and you're like, well, he had 16 points and he had 6 rebounds and he, made 4 out of 5 free throws. And that's kind of what it was tonight, too. Everyone's looking at Drew Fielder and the numbers he put up, and rightfully so. He had a great game. And then you look at Andrew Meadow and you're like, that's a solid game right there, too. Solid game.
I did that exact thing. I was going through the stats after the game, and I'm like, oh, what did Andrew Meadow do tonight? I'm like, oh, he was the second leading scorer, had 14 points, got to the free throw line a ton. And just has quiet, solid games. And I think that's probably what this team needs from him this year. There will probably be other players who step up and have the 20, 25-point games this season. But if you can just get 14, 15 points, get to the free throw line and consistent rebounding, I think you feel good about Andrew Meadow this season. What did you think of A.G. Nato? Obviously, his first performance as a Bronco, filling in for Dylan Andrews. What did you see from him? What did you like and maybe not like as much?
Well, I felt like he got in the paint sometimes and didn't know what to do. But, I mean, that's going to be a freshman for you, right? I mean, that's what's going to happen, and those are things that are going to be on film. I liked his quickness. I liked his defense that he played out there. I think when you have Dylan Anderson, it's going to be a little bit different look of the team because from what I've heard, I haven't seen him play. From what I've heard, he's the point guard. He's the guy you're going to have at the point guard position. And so, like at the end of the game when Idaho was pressing and there was a couple turnovers, it might be a completely different look when you have that point guard in the game who can handle the ball and the quickness and get around some guys. So I think the Broncos got out of this game what they wanted to. They wanted to run up and down the court in front of some fans and have the pressure of a game early on in the season, and they're going to look at film and you, like you said, Coach Rice tinkers. There are some times that it comes February and he's throwing out a different starting lineup because things that happened in practice. So I think they got what they wanted to out of it, and you like seeing all the new faces too.
Yeah, talk a little bit about Javen Buchanan. I think put up the most shots of any player on the team tonight. Seems like he kind of took control of the offense, and with Tyson Dagenhart gone, this team's looking for a guy who's going to be your guy in big moments, and something's hinted at Javen Buchanan might be that guy. What did you see out of Javen tonight?
Yeah, he could be that guy. I mean, you can look at him, Meadow, or I think Carmichael as well. Carmichael, a little bit of a quiet game, didn't really see the ball too much. I don't think he had a couple of spurts in the second half where he had hit some nice shots, but I think one of those 3 guys is going to end up being the man. And I don't know if it's going to be consistently like Tyson definitely was the last 2 seasons, or if it's going to be, tonight it was Javen and then it was Meadow. And then at the end of the year, they're all averaging 12 to 15 points. Right. And that could be really what it comes down to. But then you throw in the new guys, and it's hard we can talk about those 3 guys because we saw them all last year and we know what they can do and how, they improved from last year in this situation. But so many new faces are going to be putting in big minutes from just one game. That's an exhibition game. It's hard to tell what they're going to do, but I liked it all. They look long, athletic. Parolin looks like a beast inside and who can also shoot some of the threes and stretch the defense. So one game in exhibition, October 17th. I liked it.
Yeah, absolutely. A good crowd tonight. I think they said about 80% capacity.
Better than what I thought. Better than what I thought was going to happen. I like that.
And the crowd was really engaged, right? It wasn't, sometimes even at Extra Mile, you can have 6,000 people in there and, kind of chatting, not super involved. From the moment the ball was tipped, both sides, Idaho fans and Boise State fans, were involved, engaged, and loud. They were doing the, hey, make some noise for your crowds thing. Man, Idaho fans and Boise State fans, it got a pop in here. It got loud.
Well, it's been a while since you've looked out there on the court and you've seen Idaho across the chest and you've seen Boise State across the chest. And I think that hit home with a lot of people that there's a chance to see this, that we haven't seen it in 11 years. And it was a good game. I mean, it looked like it was going to be a blowout. And then at the second half, at the 5-minute mark, Idaho was shooting 83% from the floor and Boise State was shooting 11%. Yeah. Now all of a sudden it's a single-digit game, and now everyone's back excited. So it was fun to watch for the fans. They like seeing these 2 teams go at it, and I'm glad the Broncos got the win too. And And now a couple weeks, and then it'll count for real.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll get two more thoughts from you, and then I'll let you go. I wanted to ask, we've been talking a little bit about Bon Boim. Gets 5 minutes in the first half of the exhibition there. What did you see from him? And then does that mean something? Do you think Leon Rice is looking at him saying this might be a guy we use this year? Or was it just, hey, we needed to find a 10th guy to throw out there? What are your thoughts on Bon Boim?
Well, I think Boom's going to be a pretty athletic player.
Yeah.
And I think it might be a little maybe situational. And when he gets in some games, he could be one of those guys that just goes off with his athleticism, makes some crazy plays, and you feed the hot hand. But again, one game in, it's really hard to tell what it's going to be, 2 weeks from now or a month from now. But there's a lot of pieces that can get put together. I mean, there's a lot of different lineups that Coach Rice can go with. It's a tall team.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at Parolin and the Fielder and Ahrens, and Aarons, and that's a tall lineup that you can put out there. And all the guys can stretch the defense as well. So I think you're going to see some games where some guys might get a bunch of minutes, and then the next game they might not get it, and you just kind of feed the hot hand. But so much still left up in the air after tonight. Yeah,
you talked about the size and the length. I mean, you're going to have Andrew Meadow or Pearson Carmichael or R.G. Keene playing the two most nights. Those are all 6'7" guys, right? Yeah. It's going to be a very long, athletic lineup. I think that's definitely one thing that you saw from today. And final thought, Abe, what are your thoughts on the team right now? And anything that you learned tonight that maybe you weren't expecting? I know it's an exhibition. We don't want to take too big of takeaways, but anything you learned or anything you saw that especially stood out that you haven't mentioned yet?
I think this is going to be a fiery team. Yeah. I mean, I think it's going to be, you get some of these players in a big environment in a big time game. You got 15,000 people yelling at Drew Fielder, and then he hits a three-pointer, and then he hits a three-pointer. What's he going to do, right? Yeah. 15,000 people at the pit screaming at you, and then you shut them all up with the three. I think this is a fiery team. We know Keene can get fiery. Yep. Meadow can. Pearson Carmichael, he has a little streak to him too, and then you throw Fielder in there, so it'll be an exciting team. I think there'll be of course a long season, ups and downs, but I think from seeing a lot of these guys for the first time tonight, could be an athletic and fun team to watch.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, because you think back to last year's team, like Tyson Dagenhart, leader of the team, and he's a very confident guy, but a steady confidence, right? Never wavers. Some of the leaders on this team, you're right, a little bit fiery. Like Drew Fielder, he's the kind of guy he'll get going in a game. There were a couple moments tonight where he's getting active, he's yelling, he's shouting after hitting shots. Yeah. So, well, Abe, thanks for joining us here on the Jacksons Postgame Show. Great to have you on. We'll get we'll get going a little bit. We'll get going a little bit with interviews from Leon Rice and the rest of the team, but I'll let you go. I know you got kids at home that you want to go take care of and see. So thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it, Dave.
We'll talk to you a lot this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to it. Should be a great year. Should be a great year. All right. That was Abe Jackson, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Jacksons Postgame Show. Boise State takes down Idaho 89-83 here at the exhibition at Idaho Central Arena. Fun little environment. A little over, I think, 4,200 people in the house tonight. Really good environment, and I think going forward they want to continue to do games here. Tonight was a good showing, and I think it showed that there's some real promise here. We'll get to a few more comments. I think the game plan will be we'll get all of the interviews posted on YouTube separately. We'll go just a little bit longer here, get to some more comments, and then we'll see you guys all for the UNLV football game tomorrow. Sick Modern, Abe had me pumped for the season. That's Abe, man. I'd run through a brick wall for Abe. I feel like he's got a future in coaching if he wants it, because, man, he's got me excited about this team and the way that they look tonight. I want to see Aaron's a little more kid going to be dangerous. Yeah, I think so. I think Spencer Aaron's going to be a guy here at some point, and I'm excited to see how he continues to develop. Like I said, there's some stuff that you really like to see, and some stuff he'll probably need to grow in, but I think the stuff that he needs to grow in is stuff that you can see improvement on mid-season. Sick Modern got his starting five prediction. Andrews, if healthy, Meadow, Javen, RJ, and Fielder, with Peanut coming off the bench. Very interesting. Yeah, the lineup tonight, obviously they had Nato as the starting point guard with Andrews out, and then they went Meadow, Javen, RJ, and Dominic Parolin. I mean, just based off what we saw tonight, you got to think Drew Fielder will be the guy when that first game comes on November 3rd. RJ will be interesting. I don't know if they'll bring Peanut off the bench as kind of a bench spark, or if they put Peanut in the lineup. Likewise with RJ, is he going to be like a bench energy guy? Do they keep him out there for the connectivity and the defense? Be really interesting to see. And there's anything we know about Leon Rice, we'll probably see 3 or 4 starting lineups by the time we get to Mountain West play, right? He's going to find the absolute best unit. Jay asked, will Nato redshirt? I don't think so. I think he's going to be a guy. I think he's going to play. I think they like him. The guy who I think's on the fence is probably Von Blom, but I think I don't think you play Nato 31 minutes tonight if you think he's going to redshirt. If you don't think he's ready, you probably play Bowie, I would imagine, at the 1 most of the night, because Leon would want to be exploring point guard options, right? I don't think you play a guy you plan on redshirting 30 minutes tonight. So I do think at this point you could say, like, AG Nato probably going to be a part of the lineup in some way this season. P. Silly here saying RJ. Yeah, RJ, quiet night. I mean, not a ton of defense being played tonight, and when that's the case, you know, RJ's impact going to be a little bit minimized, you could say. Obviously, such an energizer bunny, the way he comes out and just make plays happen, and you know, not a huge impact today. I thought for the most part, you know, some of the quieter performances, like Javen wasn't super efficient tonight. Andrew Meadow, the one player with a negative plus minus, not necessarily his fault, but worth noting. I think the fact that it's some of the returning guys who maybe didn't have the marquee games, not something I'm particularly worried about. AG Nato, some freshman mistakes, had 6 fouls. There was some confusion when he got his 5th. The referees were saying, "Oh, you got to get out. You're fouled out." And you know, the 2 coaches have said, "No, we're letting them play. we're not doing fouling out. We want to get guys minutes today." So AG Nato will be interesting to see his development throughout the season. Sick Modern here again. RJ will be on the floor in the big moments. He's the glue. Diet Rodman. Yeah, RJ will find a role on this team. And I felt bad. We got off air. I told BJ we forgot to mention RJ Keene. He's got a stinking show on BNN when we didn't give him 2 minutes to talk about. You know, trying to squeeze in all the newcomers, squeeze in those potential All Mountain West guys. And I think one thing that Abe said that I would echo is he said might be one of those teams where every night you've got a different guy who's your different leading scorer. And I think there's a chance that this team doesn't have a first-team All-Mountain West guy. You don't have that clear top 5 player in the conference like you did with Tyson Dagenhart last year. I think there's a chance this is a team, though, that might have 3 or 4 guys who are like second, third All-Mountain West caliber players, right? You don't have a top 5 guy in the conference, but maybe you have 4 or 5 who are, you know, top 25. And that's kind of what the 2022 team was, right? The best team in school history. You look back, nobody on that team was first-team Mountain West, but Marcus Shaver was a fringe All-Mountain West player. Abu Kijab was second-team All-Mountain West. Manuel Acott played at a high level. Tyson Dagenhart was really good. I say Marcus Shaver was a fringe All-Mountain West player. I believe he made All-Mountain West on that team, actually. But it was hey, any given night, somebody's going to step up. And I think there's a world where this team ends up looking like that because you've got quite a few scoring options that you like. And I think everyone's going to start fitting into their place. I've talked about this in regards to last year's team was probably more talented, right? Tyson Dagenhart, Alvaro Cardenas, you cannot replace those guys. But I think this team might be a little bit better fitting. The pieces might just fit and connect a little bit better. I do think we didn't see much defense tonight, but I think probably going to have a little bit more defensive intensity and a little bit more of a defensive identity going forward this season. I think that's one thing they want to emphasize. And with that length, having a true big in there like Drew Fielder, I think there's some upside there. Got a question here. Who has the most potential on this team? Predict Spencer Aarons. Well, I think there's kind of 2 ways to answer that. Who has the most potential this season, and then who has the most potential just in their careers? If you're going the career route, you know, I think Aarons is a great choice. I would actually say of any guy, like who's most likely to make the NBA, not maybe most likely, but who has the best chance to have the best NBA career, I'd probably say Bon Blom, man. 7 foot plus wingspan, elite athlete. You already see the jump shot is coming along. He was able to hit a 3 tonight, puts in, you know, major intensity defensively. Like that's the kind of guy that NBA teams love and they desire. If you told me one guy on this team got drafted in the lottery, my pick would be Bon Blom. Going to take a lot to get to that upside. He's a long way to go. Need to put weight on, need to refine his offensive game, needs to work on the defensive IQ. But just in terms of pure potential, pure ceiling, I like that pick. But if we're going just this game or this season, excuse me, I'd say Javen Buchanan. I think he's the best wing defender on the team. And has probably the brightest flashes of scoring upside, just being able to do it himself, take the ball and get buckets at a high level. Or maybe Dylan Andrews. Again, he had a 15-20 game stretch at UCLA where he looked like an All-American. I mean, no one on this team has quite looked that good. So one of those two, if we're just saying this season. So, all right, well, I think we'll get ready to wrap up here on the Jacksons Postgame Show. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Boise State, 89-83 over the Idaho Vandals. For the first time in 11 years, Boise State wins the rivalry game. Won't count officially, but in the hearts of Bronco Nation, it surely will count. Please be sure to check out all the interviews on our YouTube page here at BNN. We'll have Leon Rice. We'll have player interviews, hear their thoughts on the game and what they think about this team going forwards. We will see you all tomorrow. Boise State UNLV football game. We'll be doing the pregame show from the James. We'll have coverage immediately after the game, so please stick around for that. And then right around the corner, basketball season starts November 3rd, which is our friend here, Manuel Herrera's birthday. Little birthday wish, maybe get a win that first game against Hawaii Pacific. Stick around for all the coverage we have during basketball season. There's no better place for coverage. And I guess we'll finish off with the Bauscher Real Estate Player of the Game. We love our sponsors, want to support Matt Bauscher and Bauscher Real Estate. No doubt about it. Drew Fielder, 24 points, 8 rebounds in just 23 minutes. Was absolutely phenomenal in his first moments at a Bronco. So we thank you all so much for tuning in, and we will see you guys next time on the Jacksons Postgame Show, and we'll see you tomorrow for the pregame show for Boise State against UNLV football game. Thank you guys for tuning in.